Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're ranking the best cards in NBA 2K25 MyTEAM here on this tier list. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 40,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day, tons of consistent daily MyTEAM content. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. We got 38 of the best cards in NBA 2K25 MyTEAM here on this tier list. Now, I will say, if there are any cards that left off this list, which I'm sure there are, feel free to leave a comment and I'll try to let y'all know where I would rank those cards. The problem is you can't make the tier lists too big because I don't want the video to be super long. And so there are probably a good variety of cards that I didn't include that are still really, really good cards. Did not include any hidden gems either or anything. I may do a video later this week or next week doing a tier list of like diamond hidden gems and pink diamond hidden gems of like the good ones. And so we will have to wait and see on that. But with that being said, without further ado, let's hop right into it. We'll start off with Pink Diamond Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who I don't believe is S tier, but I do believe is A tier. Now, 38 cards means we're going to have about 9 cards in the S tier. Is SGA a top 9 card in MyTEAM? I think you could make the argument. The answer is yes. I don't think I personally would, though. I think there are 2 point guards that I prefer over SGA. I think he's a very, very good card. Nonetheless, awesome jump shot. Really, really great card. Solid slasher, versatile defender, all that type of stuff. But on a tier list of the best and only the best cards in the game, I don't think I can put him higher than A. Corey Maggette is really solid, elite release. I'm going B tier with him. Super solid defender, very athletic. He doesn't have unbelievable shot creation ability. There's a lot of good shooting guards on this list. I think solidly B tier is probably the right spot for him, though. Dr. J is S tier without a doubt. He's the best shooting guard in MyTEAM. Exceptional movement, exceptional SIGs, and an elite jump shot. Not to mention, obviously, great player build, great slasher, great defender, all that stuff. He's amazing. Zach LaVine is S tier as well. Arguably the best point guard in the game. I think I personally would say he is the best point guard in the game. His jumper is amazing, his shooting is amazing, and his slashing is also amazing, and he's better defensively than you would anticipate as well. I'd put him S tier for sure. Jaren Jackson Jr. I don't know if he's a top 9 card in the game, but I think he's got to be very high A tier, if not S tier. He's really, really good in his own right. Very, very expensive for a diamond, but still, if you can get him for 300k MT or less, I actually think that's a really good price, considering he can play the 4 or the 5 and do both at an elite level. It just depends what you need him to do, but if you can get him relatively affordably, he is an amazing pickup and definitely an A tier card. Gary Payton, I believe, is low A. I do really like Gary Payton. I think he's probably my 4th favorite point guard in MyTEAM. He's exceptional defensively, but his jumper's good too. He's just not a great slasher. He doesn't have unbelievable movement. I think I'm going high B, actually. Just because of how strong this list is, I think I'm going high B, but I do think he's a really good card. Paul George. Paul George is one of those guys that's like, I think he's probably very bottom S tier. Like, he's one of the last cards in S tier, but he's still a really good card. And I don't feel like I can put him not in S tier. His movement could be a little better, but he's an unbelievable shooter, elite release, elite slasher, elite defender, great size. Just an awesome card. No doubt about it. Dwayne Wade, I'm going C. He's really good as a slasher, a versatile, good defensive point guard with a good player build, but his jumper could be better. That's the main issue, is just that his jumper's not top tier. Putting him in the C tier. Paulo Banchero is S tier for sure. He's the best diamond card in MyTEAM. He gets every single badge. He is unbelievably complete stat and badge wise, and he's got an incredible release, and he's a big, versatile small forward or power forward. He is a really, really, really good card. No doubt about it. Chris Mullin, I think he's C tier. Jumper could be better. Defensively, he's good, but not unbelievable. But the jumper's good. The release, I mean, the defense is good. He's just not a top tier shot creator, top tier slasher. He's a good card, but on a list like this with the very best cards, he's not a great card. And honestly, you could argue him D tier. In fact, I think we got to have a few D tiers. I think he's got to be one of them, looking at how strong this list is, as crazy as that is to say. KG's C tier. If his release was better, he'd be at least B, if not A, but his jumper's not very good. And again, on a list this good, that matters. I'm putting him C tier. Joel Embiid is A tier to me. Really good center. Top 2 or 3 or 4 center in MyTEAM. Probably, in my opinion, the 4th best center in the game. He is really, really good across the board, though. Has a good release, slash as well. There's just a lot of good bigs, so I think you got to go A tier for him. Jimmy Buckets, I think, is B or C. His jumper's okay. His SIGs are okay. He's great defensively, really good slasher. He's a super solid card. When you compare him to the very best shooting guards, I think I'd take Maggette over him. C tier feels wrong, but on a list this strong, I think it also kind of feels right. I think that's what I'm going to go with. Willis Reed's going to be super solidly B tier, fast release, versatile defender. He's like a worse version of Jaren Jackson Jr., but he's a very good card nonetheless, and he's definitely B tier. Hakeem is, to me, high A, but not quite S. The movement is better than most centers, but still not great. He is a solid release. He's amazing defensively, really good rebounder. He's an elite card. Is he noticeably better than Joel Embiid, though? Not to me. I think he's a little better, but I think they're pretty close to the same card, so I'm going A tier with him as well. Tyrese Halliburton, I think I'm going C tier. I wish he was a little higher, but I just don't think I can put him a little higher. I think he's good. He's a solid defender, can slash a little bit, good, fast-ish release, even though it's kind of ugly. Movement is good. He doesn't have a good fade, though. He's a good card. He's not a great card. And this list is C tier for sure. Kawhi Leonard is A tier. He's not S tier to me, but he's really, really good nonetheless. Super solid movement. He's got a good behind the back, which helps the card. He's versatile defensively. Obviously, he's an elite defender, of course. Wish he could play shooting guard. If he was shooting guard eligible, he probably would be S, but I think he's still high A to me. I really like Kawhi, though. Great card. I'm going to give D-Rob the last S tier spot for a big. There's one other big, obviously, who's going to be in the S tier, but I think D-Rob's the other center that I would put S tier. I think he's slightly better than Jaren, Hakeem, and Embiid at center, and that is just because he's the tallest of the three. His release, in my opinion, is probably the best of the three. I guess you could say Jaren's is better, but he's really good defensively. He always has really good animations. I love D-Rob cards in my team. Maybe it's my own personal bias, but out of those four bigs, D-Rob is the one that I would put in S tier. Andrew Wiggins. Do not sleep on Andrew Wiggins at all. 6'8" shooting guard who is a very, very good slasher, has a great release, and has decent movement as well. Very, very good card. I think he's B tier. Shaq, as much as this pains me, I'm going to put him in D tier because he can't shoot. This is the best cards in the game. I think he's the best inside big. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm putting him D to C tier. I know he can't shoot, but come on, man. It's Shaq. He's so dominant on the inside. His rebounding and defense and slashing and finishing and all that is just so good. He gets so many good animations. I know he can't shoot. I got to put him C tier, though. John Morant, to me, is high B, just like Gary Payton. He and Gary Payton are on the same tier to me as point guards. They're both very, very good cards. I don't think either of them are A tier at this point. SGA is a tier above those two guys, so I think B tier is perfect for them. Wemby's the best card in the game. Really should have his own tier, but he and Dr. J are the two best cards in the game. They're the two no-brainer S tiers. Wemby is unbelievable, and I don't even really think I need to explain why. He's definitely S tier. Scottie Pippen. I think Scottie Pippen is super solid. I don't think, well, he's probably low A. He's probably low A. I think we got to go low A for Scottie. His playmaking isn't great, but everything else is. Slashing, shooting, fade, defense, all that is great. He's just not a great playmaker, but he is still good enough to be A tier. Speaking of A tier as well, I really think, Miles Turner, he's either low B or high B or low A, but I think for the sake of this list, we'll probably go B because he's missing some badges compared to D-Rob, Jaren, Hakeem, and Embiid. They're all better than him in my opinion, but he's right there. You know what I mean? Those guys are really good, but Miles is not far behind at all, but still, all the cards in B tier are really good cards. I have no problem with Miles Turner being in the B tier. Is Jokic in D tier insane? Maybe, but he's not that good defensively. He's not that fast. His jumper's not that good. He's not a bad card, but he's kind of slow. Defensively, he's mediocre. He's not unbelievably athletic, although 90 standing deck is good. And like I said, the jump shot's slow and his SIGs aren't great. I think he's got to go D tier on a list this strong. I think that's the right spot for him. Pascal Siakam, he's really complete stat and badge wise as a power forward. I think he's a very solid card. Still think I'd put him C tier though, and honestly, I might even have to put him close to D, but I'm not going to put him in the D tier. Klay Thompson is an absolutely incredible shooter. I would still take Corey Maggette and Andrew Wiggins over him. They're much more athletic than Klay, and I think defensively they give you pretty much the same thing Klay does. If he was more athletic and a little better as a playmaker, he'd be higher on the list, but as is, he's C tier. I'm sorry, Kyrie has to be D tier. He's just not that good, to be honest. I know he's a new card, I know he's a big name, but he can't slash. And he's not elite defensively at all. I mean, he's just not good enough. He's got to go D tier. Devin Booker's going to be the last S tier point guard. Him and Levine are the two S tier point guards to me that I feel like are better than SGA, which is why SGA is an A tier. And they're both phenomenal cards. Booker could be argued as the best point guard in the game. He's an incredible shot creator with a top tier fade. He is an elite card, no doubt about it. Kareem's going to go B tier with Miles Turner. Don't think he's on the level of Jaren, Hakeem, or Embiid either, although he is a very good card in his own right. But again, just like Miles Turner, he's a slight step below, so I think he's got to be B tier. Jaime Jaquez is awesome. Like, really awesome. He gets amazing defensive animations. He's super athletic, and his jump shot is super fast. He doesn't have the playmaking. I'm not going to put him A tier, but I think he's super solidly B and still a very, very good card. Karl Malone, high C, low B. I think B. I think he's got to go B as well. He's too good to not be B tier, to be honest. Really, really good card in his own right. Very solid release, super athletic, and versatile still. I know there's a lot of good power forwards, and he's been out for a while, but he's still super solid. And honestly, Tyler Hero has to go B tier too. I know it feels like I'm putting a lot of guys in B tier all of a sudden, but I feel like this is where they have to go. Like, Tyler Hero's on the same level as Gary Payton and John Morant. That's that next tier of point guard after your top tier, which is obviously Zach, Booker, and SGA. So I feel like Tyler Hero, right in that definitely second tier of point guard. B tier is the right spot for him. Steph stinks. He can't defend. The only reason he's on this list is because he's a big name, but he's a terrible card. He's D tier, no doubt about it. Giannis is, to me, I would actually prefer to have some of the guys in B tier over Giannis at the center position. At the power forward position, I'd take him over everybody in B tier, I think. I think he's still got to go A tier to me. I don't love the jump shot, but everything else about the card is incredible. I know he's not the best shooter, but everything else is so, so good. You just can't not put him in A tier, to be honest. LeBron is going to go S tier. Still one of the very best cards in the game. The best small forward in my team. Incredible release, incredible defender, incredible slasher. Has some movement. He's an absolute dog. There's no doubt about it. KD is A tier. He's worse than Bron and Paulo, and probably like Paul George, Scottie Pippen, Kawhi as well at small forward. But he's better than the small forwards. I mean, I think he's a little better than Jaime Jaquez. I'd probably take him over Wiggins. I'd take him over those guys. He's too expensive for his price. Like I wouldn't, for his value, I should say. I wouldn't pay for KD, but I think he's a very good card nonetheless. And then finally, we're going to put T-Mac in the C tier. I know that may be a little bit of a hot take putting T-Mac that low at this point. Again, this is the best cards in the game. The cards in C tier are still very good cards. And also, I would prefer Corey Maggette and Andrew Wiggins over T-Mac at this point. I just would. I think their jumpers are a little bit more consistent and easier to green. They're much easier to rhythm shoot with, no doubt about that. They're both as good, if not better, defensively than T-Mac, and they're both elite slashers in their own right. I think T-Mac, he's a high C tier card, but I think he's C tier, and I think that rounds out this list really well. Maybe I should have included a couple more bums to fill out the D tier a little more accurately, but either way, I think we got ourselves a really, really good list here, and hopefully this is a list that helps break down the cards that you want to target to add to your squad in my team. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.